Hello, everyone. I'm Annette Anthony, your Vice President for Technology Engagement, joined by our featured guest, Key Assad. He is one of our Exit Realty's mindset trainers. Key, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
It is my pleasure. It's good to see you, my friend.
Thank you. You know what? Business for many productive realtors continues to surge, even in the midst of a global pandemic. Now, producers right now, they're laser focused on their business plans for 2021, and for good reason. But let's not forget the importance of doing a complete brand review, because you know what? Your next buyer and seller, we want them to see a stellar, up-to-date personal brand rather than an outdated message that just misses the mark on delivering your best impression. So we've got some work today. We've got a lot to cover. We're going to talk about your online leads, or excuse me, your online presence, your offline. We're going to talk about social media. We're going to talk about your proprietary tools and ways that you can create just a great experience for your next buyer and seller. Are you guys ready to get started? Key, how about you, my friend? Are you
I
ready?
am ready. Let's go. I'm
All right,
itching.
let's do this. So we're going to take you through an experience of your self-audit and to really focus on making sure that everything that you have out there, because you've got quite a bit of information, that it's perfect, as close to perfect as possible, right? And to do this with such reverence and focus as if your business depends on it, because it does. Now, here's what we're going to talk about: your branding and everything that it touches, both online and offline. We're going to dive into social media. We're also going to talk about blind spots, which coincidentally, a lot of real estate industry influencers are not talking about the blind spots that you need to be worried about. Proprietary tools, and we've got next steps that you're really going to love. So let's get underway. What I want to talk about is for you, Key. There are 6 areas where I really want you to dive in. The first part, let's talk about a vision statement.
It all starts there because for me, who you are is what you say to the world you are. So when you have a vision statement for yourself, especially as you're creating your future, it motivates you. It gets you going with what you want to do in business. So a lot of agents look for complicated ways to put together a vision statement. They're not complicated. People want to know your passion. People want to know what you're going to do. I'll give you a couple examples. So one of them goes something like this. As the local real estate expert, it is my job to produce results for my clients. You can count on me to put your family first. That's an example of a vision statement, something that resonates with you, something that makes you feel like this is why I wake up in the morning. It's something that you probably want to have in your office. And when you look at it, you remember why you're chasing and you're doing your business. Can I give them one more? Give them one more example?
Sure, please.
This one goes, I match exceptional marketing with the latest technology and proven systems to exceed my clients' expectations. That's
Hmm.
another vision statement. And guess what? With Exit Realty, we have the tools, we have the technology, and we are exceeding people's expectation, but we have to tell them that.
So interesting, because you know what? I know that a lot of offices, they have their mission statement for the office, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the agent has really adopted that mission statement for themselves in their own personal business. So this is a great way. And I know, just like we have here on the screen, it's going to help you set the tone for what you really want to rally behind. That's exceptional. The examples you gave, Key, spot on. They're pretty concise, which I think is
Yes.
a great
And
start.
we want them to be concise so that you can say them to yourself. They almost kind of resonate like an affirmation, like something you tell yourself to empower yourself.
Perfect. All right, let's dive into online profile, encompassing everything which identifies you as a professional.
Well, well, the first thing you need to do is you need to know that you have a presence. Even if you don't have a presence, your presence says you don't have a presence. All of us are Googleable now, whether we like it or not. Therefore, we have to take responsibility for it. Our online presence is a myriad of things. And this is why the fourth quarter of the year, when we do the self-audit, is the time we can actually massage it and make it better and tweak it and update it. And it starts with you Googling yourself. That's simple as that. Google your name, Google your name and your profession, Google your name and your office, Google your name and your brand, and even go further. Have your friends do that for you so they can tell you how you get be seen. Your online presence gotta send a message. Who am I? What do I do? Do I give people a good sense of what I do and where I do it?
That's perfect. So you've got to see, because that's what consumers are doing. They're going online, whether it be on their mobile devices primarily or on their desktop, to get to know you before they actually get to know you.
Correct. They meet you before they meet you. That's right.
All right, let's talk about the bio. Now, I know that this is a real big topic and a great way to help our agents be successful in their branding, especially when they're auditing their brand. It's not a resume, okay? It's a story featuring you. What's your best suggestion for a stellar bio?
Well, the first thing is make sure you go to the resource center. There are videos by Annette, there are videos by me that talk about how to put one together. But if I had to give them an idea, I would tell them there are 5 ingredients to a good bio. The first one is tell me what you do and where you do it. People forget to tell people where they do business. Don't just mention the fact that you are licensed in Arkansas. You got to talk about the city you're in. So tell me what you do, where you do it, and mention some of the locations. The second thing is tell me your experience and expertise. And by the way, if you're new, talk about the experience of your office. But some of you have been in the business 5 years. Some of you have awards. Some of you have recognitions. Some of you have designations. See, that goes into your tell me about your experience and expertise. Then share with me 2 or 3 testimonials. What others have said about you. People want to know that you have done business with other people and they were satisfied with your work or even thrilled with your work. Then the fourth one is, well, tell me your vision and that of your company. Why do you work where you work? What is it about your office, your brokerage, your location that makes you work there? And then finally, tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, humanize yourself. Tell me where you go, what to do with your kids. That's where you tell me where you're born or what degrees you have or, you know, what you do in your community. Some of you do a lot of community work. You can have a paragraph about that. But a bio is kind of, I want people to skim it and get a sense, aha, I know exactly what Annette does.
You know what, you included those 5 special ingredients. It's more than just the importance of those 5 ingredients. It's the order in
Yes.
those ingredients are placed into this mixture, right? That defines who you are as an individual, because that is how consumers search. They're not searching for your hobbies, sorry, but they will love to know about them later, right?
That's right.
They want to know who you are, what do you do, and where do you serve, which is really important. Which also begs, and I wrote down as you're talking, when people include the number of years that they've been in the business, sometimes they wrote that they were in the business for 10 years, but actually that was 15 years ago. So making sure to update that information is really important. Designations too. I know a lot of agents who have taken advantage of the National Association of Realtor platform and being able to go get designations at an incredible discounted rate during this global pandemic. So they've got designations to add into their bios key. And importantly, not just I'm an ABR, GRI, CRS, right? You want to be able to explain to the consumers
exactly
what does this newfound education mean to protecting you as a buyer or a seller, right?
And because we're saying it's an audit, some of you, and I know some of you, have done your bio already. But see, this is the time to bring it out. See, once a year, your bio has to be kind of looked at and go, oh, okay, what do I need to update in it? That's the process. because you don't want to be updating your presence online if your bio does not match who you are today.
Correct. Yeah, we want the consumers to be absolutely aligned with who you are today. So such great importance. Now let's talk about an introduction video.
Well, that one is very straightforward. If you have a vision statement and you know who you are and what you do, you combine them, ta-da! That's your video. Hi, my name is Annette. I'm your local realtor. I love working in Des Moines, Iowa. I've been in business 15 years, and my passion is to help people achieve their dreams. It could be that simple. It does not have to be a 20-minute long video. All it needs to be is you sharing your vision and what you do and where you do it in a passionate way. Basically, you're telling people, if you list your home with me, it is in good hands. If you want to purchase your home, you will be in good hands with me. And I want our agents to have fabulous videos, and I want them to not forget to put them on YouTube. They all put them on Facebook, but they forget to put them on YouTube and in their website.
A great point. You know what? When consumers are looking at your bio and they see that play button and the thumbnail of your face, it's irresistible. People want to know what that's all about. And if it's just a short, concise video, you're already winning. That's a really great point. Okay, Key, give us some insight with reviewing your website. And I did plural for websites because we know that there's more. Let's talk about that.
Well, with your website, see, websites are driven by this concept we call keywords. Keywords are the words that are in your website that helps the spider understand what you do and where you do it. So some of you have individual websites, correct? So the first thing you want to do is make sure that your website mentions the locations. Do you have landing pages for properties for sale in that area? Are there pages that show your listing and that of your brokerage listings? Do you mention your sold listings? We always talk about the new stuff. We forget about talking about the stuff what we've done in the past. People want to see that you've done a closing in the past. And some of you have a combination of your own website, maybe a website with your brokerage. Some of you have a blog that is built in your website, and you look at it and go, oops, I haven't blogged in a while. I need to catch up. But you're not just looking at your website to see if your name shows up. That's good, you want that. Or that the name of Exit Realty is properly used and properly mentioned. You want that. But locations, neighborhoods, cities, counties, we need to go deep on location.
And making sure that they all align, right? So where on your corporate website, where you do, I'm sure you have an agent page. I know that your brokerages are leaning on the agents for information about what to include in those bios. So having the consistency in those areas too are really important.
Correct.
And when you upload a photo, sometimes, have you ever seen, Key, that some photos they're cropped at the top, right?
Yes.
Or they're misproportioned. That's just a great opportunity to reach out to your franchise support at your brand and say, hey, something's not quite right with the upload of my photo. Can you help me adjust it? I know that they're super helpful and they can definitely do that, but you got to go make sure that it looks great.
Correct. So your picture, your bio, your website, your phone number, I've seen agents overlook. Remember, we're so busy as realtors that sometimes we think we see, but we're not seeing because we assume it's there. This is why doing this exercise with another colleague, a success partner, where she's watching you and he's watching you and you're watching each other, because you overlook things. You'll be working on something and you go, I'm sure my number is wrong, and you realize your website is missing an E or a D, and go, oh, I gotta fix it.
That's absolutely true. All right, let's focus on the next section. Okay, this is probably one of my favorites because it's a glaring one where there's tremendous opportunity here, and that's search portals. Let's talk about that.
Well, if you're going to, you're doing an audit. Remember, you're doing a vision statement, you're doing your bio, you're auditing. Don't go there yet until your broker has reviewed your bio. You don't want to start putting your bio everywhere and then realizing that your broker says, you can't say you wrote this wrong or you mentioned this wrong. So some of you are required to put your license number in your bio. So your broker can catch it, or your admin. Don't forget, your admins are great. They can help you catch the mistakes or the things you overlooked.
Absolutely.
But the search portals for me
All right,
are a way for you to start the distribution process. And you have to do it thoughtfully. I don't want agents to feel like I got to do it in one afternoon. Take your time. Once you have your bio done, once you have your vision statement and your video done, interact with your staff, with your success partners. They give you the thumbs up, then gradually start putting your information out there. And you start, Google yourself in Realtor.com and see what you have. I was looking at a client, a broker, a friend of ours, and he had no picture on Realtor.com. I'm like, dude, he goes, oh, I forgot to look at it. And that happens to all of us. That's an oversight that we all suffer from. So go deliberately. And what I told agents, work on one portal at a time, one a week. It doesn't matter. If it takes you 6 weeks to finish it, that's fine.
That's absolutely right. You know, it's unfortunate sometimes, Key, that people will set up this really important information. They set it up and then they forget about it.
Yep.
They don't actually take the time to go back and review. So it's such great information. Let's continue on. I know people are taking some great notes. Let's talk about just a review, right? If you were to put your consumer goggles on, look at your business website or how you look on your brokerage's site, it's really important to really take a whole view of your information. Let's spend a moment on this.
So right here, the first thing I want to do is make sure my information is correct. My phone number, my email address, my website. Is my website showing up? Or maybe it's not. Maybe I have to go edit the information and place it there. So, and I want to make sure that my listings are showing up below it, because if your IDX is set up properly, your bio and your listings will show up as well. And then within that, there are other things below it, like the bio, etc. So basically, just look at it and have somebody else look at it as well. They may tell you, you know, you have a better picture on Facebook. Try that one.
Very good. And, you know, there's also, you know, the links, any links that you're putting on there, anything that's clickable, navigate throughout everything and click and make sure, even social media, making sure that those social media icons take you to the social media pages.
Well,
you want people
look
to go.
at this example. This example is perfect. Corey has her Facebook link, cool, Instagram, but she doesn't have her LinkedIn. And she probably has a LinkedIn account. She doesn't have her YouTube. You know, for me, if I had to place them in order, you know how I think, right? I would place YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. If you don't want to put Twitter, that's fine. Don't worry about that. But those four, you want to start building your presence. And for example, Corey could now realize, you know something, I'm going to make sure I put a link for my LinkedIn, one for YouTube, and all of the other tools available at Exit.
Definitely. And you know what? Towards the end of this, we're going to talk about, you know, how to make a splash about the changes that you're making. So even little changes like adding LinkedIn, is that worth making a splash to your database about changes that you've done on your website? Absolutely. That could be the very reason to reconnect. So little changes can make a tremendous impact. Okay, so let's talk about things that matter and small things that you can do to really accentuate what you're trying to accomplish in your bio. Let's talk about that.
Well, like I said, remember when we gave you the idea of your bio, you've had it reviewed by your broker. for me, bios are snippets of paragraphs. They're not long paragraphs. They're snippets, just like this one. Snippet, snippet, snippet. And I usually ask myself, am I mentioning a location in the first or second paragraph? So let's say I mentioned Jacksonville, Florida. I'm going to link Jacksonville, Florida to the homes for sale in Jacksonville, Florida from either my website or my broker's website. Those are called strategic links, or in the parlance of the internet, landing pages. So look and see what you can link. Don't overlink. It's not because you can make links and go, well, let me put 50 links. No. One or two links here and there. If you mention your broker, you may link your broker. That's okay. But you may be asking yourself, Annette, should I link myself? No, don't link yourself. You're going, why not? Because the bio is about you. You don't need to link you when it's about you. But you know what you link? You link where you do the business, your community activities if you want, and your brokerage and your company's website. Oh, and corporate, of course. You can link those, but don't overdo it. Just one link or two per paragraph.
So I like the idea of you linking listings. Okay, that's huge. Communities that you serve. What are other suggestions that you feel would really be something that consumers would appreciate connecting to from your bio?
Well, we know how consumers' eye flow on a computer. And we know one thing is that when they see bold, their eyes go there. When they see bold and italic, their eyes flash to that, because consumers don't have the patience to read everything. They don't go word by word. They skim. And if you want to catch their eye very quickly, I usually have in one paragraph the thing that stands out. I make it bold or italic so that as they're skimming, they read the right stuff. Jacksonville, Florida, homes for sale. Exit real estate gallery. Paula Wynn, your local realtor. You know, things like that. But in terms of that, what we're looking for is we're looking for the spiders, the internet spiders, the one that track the keywords to see your bio as well. That's why we make hyperlinks.
That's perfect. We also, if you'll notice at the top of the screen here where it says about me, if you need help in the resource center, you can click right above that box of your bio. We've got a tip sheet too for an effective bio, so make sure that you lean on that as well. Okay, so let's talk about where to start. If you would, Key, let's help guide our attendees on what to do next.
Okay, well, I do this every year with my students in my classes. What we do what's called a branding audit. And when we do a branding audit, we start with the simple stuff. We grab the bio, we reread it, we tweak it, we give it to a friend, we read theirs, they read ours. We work as groups. I like working in groups. Groups work really well. I've seen brokers do a class on this video. They play the video and then they sit them together and they do a workshop around it. So first I work on it. Then I decide what's going to be bold, italic. Then the broker has reviewed it. Then I make sure I did not forget my designations. I try to find out if there are new testimonials I want to add. Sometimes you don't want to have a lot of testimonials. So what I normally do, Annette, I do 3 of them, and then I add a link that takes me to additional testimonials. So we work on that. I like to work with the people. So anybody I can work with for them to review what I do. Like I was working on my bio, and you know I'm very close with Stan Bishop. Stan sent me his, I reviewed his, I sent him mine, he reviewed mine. We all do this. It's not like we're telling you to do something and we don't do it ourselves. We have to do it ourselves. And absolutely, absolutely involve your broker and your admins. They are a great resource to you.
Great. Well, I think any time that you're collaborating with other like-minded professionals who wants to see one another be successful, it just makes it so much easier than tackling a blank box by yourself with no feedback or interaction. So that's great. But like you said, I cannot emphasize enough the significance of involving your broker owner. They're the ones who made the investment of the franchise, or they own that, your particular office. It's so important that they review the changes before you actually post them.
Yep.
Now,
Agreed.
let's dive into social media, Key. Here's some great features. There's quite a bit here. Your profile. Let's start with that, and then we'll move around the sphere for ideas on social and how to help our attendees do their brand audit.
Well, before I usually touch social media, I look at my photography. I ask myself, is the photography that I have right now, that I've done this year or last year, still valid for this coming year? Because if it's time for me to do a photo shoot, I would rather do the photo shoot now, because I'm not going to change my banner, my graphics, my picture in the system, and not be happy about what I have. So what I normally do, usually the ideas are first, and then the lipstick. The lipstick is what you look like. Are you shaven? You have good glasses? Do you look good? You have a good hair day? Go for a photo shoot. I always recommend somebody going with multiple outfits, and to do it with another realtor, because they will give you a sense of how to pose, how to smile, how to look, and try different ones, because you're going to be using them in different venues. It's okay to use a different picture on Facebook than the one you use on LinkedIn, than the one you use on Twitter. It's absolutely okay, but they need to be kind of in the same family of pictures. Once you've done that, then you start with your profile picture. Make sure it's high res. I recommend you wearing a name badge if you can. It's always good to have the exit pin if you can. And the most important thing about a picture is your smile.
Definitely.
Sorry. Smiles make or break a picture. And then slowly but surely work first on your personal account, which is your Facebook account. Make sure that your picture and your banner look good. That's number one. Then go to your Facebook business page or group page or whatever pages, and ask yourself, should I change them? Is my phone number in the banner? Should it? Is my website in the banner? Should it? Is the background similar to where I work? Should I be going out there and taking pictures of background? Don't use somebody else's pictures. I've seen agents go, oh, I like that picture that Susan has. She's with another company in real estate. I'm going to use it too. No. Grab your camera and go out there, take pictures. It's better for you to take the picture than use somebody else's. Or if you use somebody else's, do it with permission. So start with that. See if the links are still working. See if the phone is still working. See if your website is there. See if you have to add website. And also, once you complete this, start asking for recommendations.
Absolutely. I think those are great. How about links and hashtags?
Links and hashtags are very important. I usually tell agents to create what's called a branding hashtag. I'll give you an example. Let's say your name is Paula Wynn. Paula can have a hashtag called Paula Wynn Realtor, or Paula Wynn, Paula, your exit realtor. She can pick different ones with her name and create a branding hashtag. What makes a branding hashtag valuable is how often you use it, but you should only use it in the context of real estate. You don't want to be using your hashtag when you're talking about something irrelevant to real estate. But whenever you're doing something with real estate, use your own branding hashtag, use your company hashtag, use the exit hashtags as much as you can, and don't forget location hashtags. So if Jacksonville, it could be Jacksonville real estate hashtag, or the hashtag Jacksonville homes for sale. So use location, personal, and corporate.
That makes total sense. And also taking a look at those photo albums. right? And making sure maybe you should create an album of all your closed transactions you had this last year. Maybe have a photos of
Oh, that would
your
be
family,
amazing.
right?
Yeah, I'd love that. Can you imagine every time you do a closing, you take a picture with the sold sign on it, or maybe a picture with you with it, hopefully, and then you add it to that album. At the end of the year, you'll have 25, 30 of them. That is a resource. That's you telling the world, I'm a working agent. I'm not just dabbling, I actually make things happen.
Definitely. You know, we can't ignore that not only are consumers looking at your branding, they're looking at your bio, they're looking at your websites, but social media too opens
Mhm.
up a tremendous window. So also pay very close attention to, you know, your actual profile information, like you mentioned, Key. And if you have any links, like I use a product called Linktree, which I love. It gives me additional abilities to include more links than like Instagram. It really limits you with what you can put on there. But Linktree gives me an expanded view of adding more links. But you need to be mindful, making sure that all of those links still take you to where you want people to go.
Correct. You have to test them all. Correct.
Definitely. So really getting into the ins and outs of your brand, what you're posting about. If there's pictures you want to remove, start cleaning up. But you know what? This time that we have right now is such a gift, Key, because even though people right now are very, very busy, productivity has not taken any kind of a slowdown whatsoever. Um, there's never a perfect time to do this, but this is an essential time so that you can move into the holidays and really enjoy and be ready to hit the ground running in 2021. Very important. Let's
Agreed.
continue. Let's talk about some blind spots. This is a great opportunity here. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and you have some good ones here.
Go ahead.
You and I were talking last time. You said, people forget their voicemail. They forget that they recorded their voicemail, I don't know, 2, 3 years ago. They
Yeah.
never listened to it because it's not meant for them. So maybe this is the time of year to listen to your voicemail and say, should I update it? Should I change it a bit? Should I spice it up a bit? And also your email signatures. Your email signature goes with all of your emails. You don't even look at it anymore because it's your email signature. But you got to ask yourself, is my website correct? Is my phone information correct? Is my vanity text to correct? All of those things, you got to make sure that everything is, this is the time to catch it and make sure it's correct. And you also have some autoresponders that you need to be aware of.
You know, and one thing too that I saw is that many of our agents, they have subscriptions to email
Yep.
campaigns. And, you know, it's so important that you look at those. First of all, look at the metrics to see what your success rate is, and then look at the content that you're sending out. Is it have you taken the time to really go in and customize those newsletters? I hope you do, especially going into 2021, because engagement is so important. I would rather you spend a few minutes by customizing your newsletter just a little bit so that it feels to the consumer as though you're sending something to them that's meaningful. It's intended to be for them and it's got valuable information rather than waste an email on something that's canned. So do check those subscriptions. Make sure that those subscriptions are still running consecutively, that they haven't stopped and prevented you from your communications going out regularly.
And they have some default settings that have your picture, your info. Go through those default settings. Make sure they're up to date. Make sure you've updated them. This way you don't have to think about them. And the way you do it is a checklist. You just create a checklist, which I know you're going to give them at the end,
Oh
but you're
yeah.
going to have a checklist that enables you to remember, let's check my defaults within my newsletter.
Absolutely. You know what? Let's take some time. I'm going to go through and talk about proprietary tools because all of our attendees on the call, whether they're with Exit or other brands, they come to these techinars for information. I know that they have proprietary tools. So let's just pause and take a moment and talk about proprietary tools and how it helps to do your brand audit on them as well. First of all, we have what's called an expert marketing suite. you want to make sure that you've taken the time to really dive in to the expert marketing suite and that you're looking at it from the consumer goggles to make sure that you understand how the text codes work, to look at a flyer and make sure that all of your branding information looks great, to comb through everything, click on a tour, look at the HTML code, look at your auto text response. Now, a lot of brands who have automated marketing and you can communicate with the consumers automatically, see if you can also control what the auto text response is going to be. That's a great point in which you want to make sure that you have control of being able to edit what that custom text response is so that you can add a little bit of your personality so that consumers feel as though you're speaking to them. So important to make sure that you can do that. You also want to make sure that you, again, review all of the marketing that's done. And if you have alert settings, which if you have automated tools like this, you should have a way at your brand to receive those alert settings. Well, at Exit, you can set it up to either get an email or get a text alert, or if you're crazy, you just want both, you can get both too. Make sure that those alert settings are set up so that you never miss an opportunity when a consumer is looking at your marketing. You want to make sure that you're able to connect with them in real time once you get the alert, that you connect with them and you see what you could do to help them. So important. Next is the mobile business card. A great tool that we provide our agents to keep in touch. Now, you want to make sure to do an audit on your mobile business card. Make sure that the vanity code that you picked is simple, that it's easy to use, otherwise it's not going to be used. You want to make sure that you edit your auto text response so that when people engage initially with your mobile business card, that it lets them know two things. Hey, thanks for connecting. And then two, click on the link to check out my mobile business card, because we don't say thank you enough. And then giving them the exact instructions of what we want them to do with our mobile business card, so important. You also
and one thing they could do also is,
sure.
I can see agents doing a video talking about this specifically, the different types of vanity codes that give their clients different options. So I can see an agent taking this idea and expanding on it that way.
I love the video idea because I know that when people do a video, your audience is going to do exactly what you tell them to do in that video.
Right.
So super important. So also you want to master consumer engagement, meaning you want to be so solid on what happens when a consumer is engaging with your mobile business card so that you can teach that to others. You can talk about it. You have complete fluency. You understand how consumers interact with your mobile business card. You understand that they receive all the details to stay connected with you. So important that you understand that, and also define what your follow-up plan is. So they get your mobile business card. That's great. You'll also receive an immediate notification that they're checking out your mobile business card. Now what? You want to reach out to them. You want to have that follow-up plan that when you get that text alert that lets you know you just generated a new lead, what are you going to do? You're going to call them, and then you're going to add them to social media. You might even get an address to send them a handwritten note so you can send them your real regular business card. You want to also make sure that you add them to your monthly newsletter. There's so many different touches that you can do just from their initial engaging with your mobile business card. So what's your follow-up plan? You got to have a follow-up plan defined. This is part of that audit as well. Next is your yard signs. At Exit, we have smart signs. You want to take inventory, because the last thing is you get busy and you reach back to go grab a sign and it's damaged. You know, it's not a perfect, beautiful sign that your consumer expects you to put in their yard. Take inventory. There's a lot of great sign companies that are providing some amazing deep discounts during this time of year. Take advantage of them. Replace them as needed, and then also review the information.
Yep.
And definitely perfect demonstrating your smart sign technology. Okay, so next we're going to talk about your websites. We did already well communicate about the
Correct.
importance of going through your website, but also I want you to think about on your website, check additional pages. Make sure that the content isn't outdated. If you're premiering an open house that was months old ago, you want to make sure that you edit and and update that information. Maybe you've sold it. Maybe you want to do a feature about the customer who purchased the home, or you want to tell a story about the seller, about the journey of selling their home, or you want to replace that with something else that maybe is a new project coming into your community. It's important to look, and even additional pages, make sure those are updated too.
Correct.
Now,
Well, just do a quick run through, and remember, keep your eyes on two things: locations, your name, the brand name, your contact information. Just make sure that that information is always correct.
I love it. Okay, apps. A lot of brands have apps, which is great. You want to make sure that you understand leveraging the app so that you can generate leads. What's that process like? You want to familiarize yourself with sending your app to your database and making sure that you understand the process, that when they set up themselves as an account in your app, that they also connect with you as an agent so that the app is branded. So important. Review it as a consumer, meaning sign up using a personal email, sign up for your app as a consumer. And the intention here is so that you understand all the capabilities that they get. You want to be completely fluent so that when you're talking about your app to the consumer, that they understand, oh wow, this is a lot of great information, and you want to keep them constantly excited about using your app. And then finally, your digital listing presentations, which again, all brands provide some sort of resource for a digital listing presentation. You want to make sure that you look at your digital listing presentation, do a brand audit on multiple devices, whether it be on an iPad, a mobile device, or on desktop, because you want to assume the consumer is going to look at your digital presentations on those various devices as well. Leverage any settings possible so that you can customize it so that it speaks to you and it's really personal. Add testimonials. This is again another place that you want to add your most recent reviews right here in your listing presentation. Don't miss the opportunity. Now, I know that our audience has questions, and I'm going to leave our contact information up here, Key, so that our attendees can reach out to us directly. But I know that they ask, one of the questions I typically get quite often is, how often should this be done, Key?
Well, for me, a brand audit is done once a year, like this thorough. To be this thorough in your brand audit, you do it once a year, preferably starting towards the end of October. I call it after the convention. Right after the convention, you start working on it. By mid-November, you want to have the bulk of it done and reviewed by your broker. And then you'll have the Thanksgiving period and right before Christmas where you are putting it out there and sharing it. So I call this a fourth quarter kind of thing. That doesn't mean you don't not making changes during the year, but you're not going to have as much time in the spring and summer. And 2021, guys, you better be busy. You're going to be busy. If you want to do well, you are going to be busy. So this is the time of year to do your best. So once a year is what I do the audit.
That's perfect. Key, what tools are available to track changes that you've made? What do you suggest?
Well, I personally create my own checklist. There's a lot of software out there. We're overwhelmed by software. I find that having a checklist with all my stuff in it, and I go check, is the best thing for me. That's what works for me. Sometimes technology actually makes it more difficult to do the technology we need to do. So I just create boxes with checklists like the one we put together, you and I, for them. I find that to be just simpler, especially when you work with somebody else, because with somebody else, they may say, hey, you forgot this. He was talking about, your branding hashtag. You forgot to do that. Or you remember Annette said, don't forget the smart sign. So working with somebody else also creates kind of a technology, but I have not seen a system where you go in, make a change, and boof, everything happens. Not gonna happen. I don't see that happening.
Sounds good. Well, we do have a checklist, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But let's just take a minute. You and I can take one of these at a time and talking about touting it out. And what this means is once you've made all these changes, okay, don't keep it a secret. You've gone into a lot of thoughtful work, and this could be the reason for you to re-engage with your database if you've been out of touch, just by letting them know that you've made some strategic changes. So let's take each of these and let's talk about them. Go ahead with the first.
Well, the first one, getting it on social. Well, we already remember that first video we talked about. That could be your first, the beginning of you telling people that you're making these changes. It has your vision statement. It tells people what you do, where you are. You have that video ready. So that's going to be your first step. But for me, the word social should include a layer of blogging. I'm a blogger. I believe in blogging. Blogging is a long form way of telling a story. So what I normally do, I write a blog about my bio. I share my bio. I give them all of my designation. I make it very long. And then I take the link of my bio and I share it on social media deliberately. I start with Facebook and then Instagram and then LinkedIn and then YouTube. I keep going, sharing it everywhere. So for me, sharing it can be done in pieces or it can be global, but just don't be a secret. But people will start seeing your changes. As you put the new picture on Facebook, people will notice it. As you update your banner, people will notice it. So those are the kind of things that you want to be doing. Tell the world your vision, your expectation for yourself, of your clients, and how you're going to work with your clients in 2021, and be upbeat about it, be excited about it.
So a quick video can definitely articulate your excitement for the changes that you've made, no doubt. So just even something as simple, a 30-second video or less, just to let people know, hey, I took some time to work on my business. I updated quite a bit of my business information. Here's the link, check it out. And I know this, many of our agents, Corey actually is one that has shared this strategy. When she asks people to review her information, one of the things that she ends with when she says to really get people excited to go check it out is she says, let me know what you think.
Yep.
And that is a very irresistible statement to say that will get people to go check out the changes that you made. Okay, let's talk about number 2, reminding your contacts to check your updates in your handwritten notes. Now, that's one of my favorites. Just a quick handwritten note, just letting people know you're connecting with them and that you hope their year is going well, letting them know, again, you're working on your business, you've made some updates on your website, or maybe it's your personal blog. I made some updates on my personal blog. I'd love for you to check out my latest entry. Even include in a handwritten note a easy URL for them to go to, and then make it irresistible. Okay, do like Corey said and ask, hey, let me know what you think. Take the third one away, Keith.
The third one is enter your text conversation with your people and share with them your updates. I don't do that with everyone because it'll be overwhelming, but I always start with the circle. We all have, remember that conversation that Tammy had with all of us called your dirty dozen? I usually like to have my dirty dozen know what I'm up to. I always tell them immediately what I'm going to be doing, and then I ask them to share it with their friends. But I try to make it short and sweet. Sometimes with text messages, I prefer giving them a link to a video to watch because I know they're going to watch it very quickly.
That's perfect. Take the next one.
So the next one is mention it in your monthly newsletter. Correct. If you're going to make the time to have a newsletter, which is made up of different topics, pick the topic of the updates you just did. You can just share a link with the short description to your blog. If you wrote a blog, that is what you're going to share with people. You're going to tell them how excited you are about 2021, the tools you're going to be using, and that you made changes to your presence to help them.
I love it. You know, the last one here, I'll take it for us, is remind entrepreneurs you know to do the same. You know, let's not forget that a lot of our clients, they're business owners, they're entrepreneurs. They too should be doing a brand audit on themselves, even if they're not in real estate. I would say, especially if they're not in real estate. Doesn't matter what entity, whether they own their own flower shop, or they're a CPA, or they're a web designer, whatever that is, whatever business they do. Every entrepreneur in your database should also go through this exercise, because you know what? Everyone has an opportunity to really polish up that brand and put their best foot forward. These are great, great remarks, Key, and I can't thank you enough for being with us today.
Oh, my
Now,
pleasure.
all of the attendees are going to get a follow-up video from Key and I thanking you for being with us. Also, we've provided a pretty in-depth checklist that all of you will receive, because if you're like me, I love looking at a list of things to accomplish, and there is no greater enjoyment than to strike those items that I've completed on that list. I don't know if it's as satisfying for you as it is for me, Key.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that.
I have boxes right here, and as I do something, I go check.
Yes, I love it. And it gives us the opportunity to really visually see that we are on task and we are completing these items. So Keith, thank you so much for being with us today. You provided tremendous in-depth information, and we certainly hope for all of our attendees that you continue to join us. Seek out every fourth Wednesday of the month and join Exit Realty Corp International with some value-added Techinar, which is a webinar about technology. You know, we're always thinking forward, things that are going to help you grow your business. And we're so thrilled to help be part of that success story with you. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Key, thank you once again for being such a great contributor to Exit.
My pleasure.
Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you again.